Hi there, thank you so much for clicking the thumbnail and being interested in my work. In this video I share with you my techniques and tips on the procedure on how I do the outline. So be sure to watch it right through to the end, because here and there I'll be slowing things down so you can take a closer look. So let's dive in and take a look. Right, so the first thing I do is to find the center point in the pastel matte surface. So this is the board version of the pastel matte. I place a point dead center, and then I put a point on the image dead center as well. So you make sure that your image is cropped to the size of your picture you're wanting. So I'm doing a 10" by 12" here, so the actual image is scaled up to 12 by 10, and then I found the center point of that image that I'm working from. So from there, then you've got this overall size is the same. So first of all, you're sketching in, really starting from where the top lip is, because that's where the center point is, and then working outwards. But first of all, you're guessing, you're just working out, feeling it, how big the shape would be, looking at the negative space, which is the space around the portrait, and trying to feel where those shapes is. So you just sketch that in first, and then once you've got a rough idea where you feel that would be, then you start to measure up and compare. A real good tip as well is to make sure that your reference image is not too big, because if it's too big you won't see the proportions correctly, it'll be distorted. So you have to see the whole of the actual image you're working from, so you reduce it to a size where you can actually see the whole of it, and then it gives you more of an idea where the shapes are, because if it's too close up and too blown up, you lose yourself in it. So you have to be able to see the whole of the image. After you're happy with the initial sketch around, then you start to tighten things up. So you work from the center point, so you work on the lips, get those in first, and then what you do then is starting to measure from that point. Then you've got a point to measure from. Now, how you're measuring it, you're using the vertical and horizontal line, so you're checking the vertical alignment and the horizontal alignment, plus to check the space are correct with each element, is place the thumb on the pencil and use the tip for the other side of the measurement. So you'd actually measuring with a thumb and then the tip of it, and then you're comparing then. So there you saw me compare just to where the chin line was to the top of the lips is the same width as the nose. So then you know you've got that element correct. So once you've got that part correct, then you can move on to the other areas. What I decided to do with this portrait is to do one side of the face first and then move on. So if I made sure that everything was in proportion on just the one side, and then I've got something to measure and compare from then. So there you saw me measuring again from the chin line to the top of the mouth, top of the lips, then measured against with the width of the nose, and then I found that it was just under the nose to the top of the eye then. So I knew then that the top of the eye is the same as the bottom of the nose, and top of the eye is the same width as the nose and same as the chin line and top of the mouth. And this is how you compare. And this is exactly the same procedure I would do if I was drawing from life. So this is a great way to actually practice drawing for life drawing as well, because it's the same procedure. So it's worth having a go. But you know, if you don't feel comfortable and confident about doing this, like I mentioned in that video, I've got 3 ways how to draw the outline, so please check that out if you haven't seen it. Work really first with a 1" grid, then a 2" grid, then 3-inch, then a 4-inch, then eventually you just got 1 point in the middle of your board. So that's a great way to learn you to do freehand. So start with the grid first if that makes you feel comfortable, but eventually go to a bigger and bigger grid until you've only got 4 squares if you like, and then eventually it's just a center point. If you're getting value from this video, why not subscribe? It's absolutely free, then you're sure not to miss any of my future videos. Now, to get an idea where the hairline is and where these sort of points are, just use your pencil in the vertical position and just get the alignment from the elements you've already drawn. Now, this is considered one of the most difficult parts of doing the portrait, and that's putting the second eye, because it can be quite awkward. It's best to find where the corner of that eye is first by measuring and comparing, but using your pencil vertical and horizontally as well to get the corner point. Now there's a trick to actually dealing with this, and that's to keep open. You do that by opening the heart, and then you'll be able to see the whole of the image at once. So that's the best way of dealing with this, rather than having tunnel vision on it. Another good way as well is to hold up a mirror and keep looking in the reflection of the mirror and compare. Tend to stick it over my shoulder and look at it from that angle, and then it gives you an idea then, another perspective on where the alignment is and everything. It'll just things stand out more. If you would like to support me on Patreon, I'm now offering a exclusive 4-hour-long video plus a step-by-step exclusive video every month. To find out more, the link is in the description below. Now, I tend to spend quite a bit of time making sure this is correct, because it's so important to get the alignment of the eyes right. So it's worth spending your time, just keep correcting until you're happy with it. Keep looking in the mirror before you move on to the rest of it. So just be sure that things are correct on them areas, then everything else should fall into place then. Now, just to make sure that everything's correct, I tend to put the pupil in and then just add the highlights in there as well, and just make sure they align properly as well. You know, spend your bit of time making sure that's correct. If you're enjoying this video, please give it a like and share it with your friends. It would mean so much to me, as this would help the channel to grow. Now, what you see me doing here is just tightening up the details now, just making sure everything's correct before I move on to the other side of the face. So just changing things around. Now, I've mentioned this in many of my videos, but my approach to art is to open the heart and quieten the mind. And the more you can do that, and the more you can send energy to the actual image you're working from by opening your heart, the more energy will come back. And if you relax, that energy will flow through you out of the hands, and then the marks will just happen by themselves. It's an amazing feeling once it starts to happen for you, and it will happen for you if you just have patience and just keep persevering. It just flows, and the amount of joy you feel and the sense of bliss and peace while you're drawing is just it's hard to put in words. For longer and more in-depth videos, please join me on Patreon. Link is in the description below. Now the pencil colour I've used is grey, which is an ideal colour really because it's a similar sort of shade to the actual pastel bat shade, which is dark grey. So when you rub it out using this putty rubber or kneaded eraser, it really is good. You don't leave any marks. So I suggest buying one of those kneaded erasers and using a grey to draw the outline. If my pencils are getting a bit short as well when I'm doing the vertical marks, I tend to use another pencil which is a bit longer. So it's important to get these alignments correct. It's surprising, if you don't get this hairline right, it can throw everything out. You can spend a lot of time getting the eyes, nose and the mouth right, but if you don't get the top of the head and the hairline correct, it's surprising how it can throw it out completely. So it's well worth spending time making sure you've got enough head on there, enough top of the head, and the hairline is correct. Yeah, it's so surprising the difference it makes. With this portrait, I've decided not to do the hands. It's just be a head and shoulders portrait, and then what I'll do is just sort of blend the shirt into the background, which I'll explain to you how I do that in part 2. The reason I've left the hands out is because there's just too much going off there and it's too complex, and I think it would take the eye off the portrait itself, because I want people to, when they view the image, is to see Nate's soul in his eyes and to feel that. Keep a lookout for part 2, which will be next week, and what I'll be doing there, we'll be doing the underdrawing and then the final coats of the face and the hair and the background and the clothes, so it'll all be in one next week, and then I'll show you how I blend that into the background, the top. Thank you for watching the video right through to the end. If you found value in it and you liked the video, please give it a thumbs up. Appreciate it, it would help the channel. Leave a comment and a message in the comments below. Let me know what sort of videos you want me to produce. I've actually left a couple of links here for you to click on. And to subscribe, click on the circle here. It's absolutely free, and then you're sure not to miss any of my future videos. Thank you so much, take care and be well.